the turkey go? Yes, ma'am. Which way did you go? So. 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 Will you help me find her? Yes, ma'am. Will you help me find her? Yes, ma'am. Get ready, let's go. Shoot, turkey, shoot.
Garden to see which vegetables were ripe. He would touch them. Eh. Ah. Oh. And he put them in his basket, and he took them to the marketplace to sell, singing all the way. I may not have silver, I may not have gold, but when I laugh, I don't feel low. He sold every one of his vegetables, and the money he got, it was only a little bit of money. And he couldn't buy all the things he wanted. But he could buy the things he needed. I don't believe you heard me. He couldn't buy all the things he wanted, but he could buy the things he needed. And he did. And he put them in his basket, and he went on home. I may not have silver, I may not have gold, but when I laugh, I don't feel low. I may... When the old man got home, he couldn't believe his eyes.
One morning, I said one. And that's not what I said. I said one fine morning, one. Brer Rabbit squeezed out of his little hole. And he thought, what am I going to eat this morning? He looked all around, but there was nothing to be found. Do you think Brer Rabbit just gave up? He went hopping down the road. He ran over and he hid behind a tree to get a good look at that garden. And when he peeked out, he said, he saw a little girl sitting by the garden gate. And that little girl was Mr. Pettaway's daughter, Liza Jane. And when Brer Rabbit saw that little girl, he got an idea. He hopped out and he said, hey, girl. And Liza Jane, she said, oh, hey, Brer Rabbit.
It still had many languages inside. So the Creator began tossing them in every direction. Ha! Wow, it is done. But there were so many languages, the people couldn't understand each other. And besides that, the Creator left the sky too low. And the tall people were bumping their heads into the sky. And they were even climbing into the sky world. You can't do that. There's a time to go into the sky world. Not just any time you Everyone must push. I can't do it alone. Fourth, last chance. Big voice. Ooh. Yes! We did it! Yes! We did it because we worked together with one heart, one mind, and for one common cause. So remember, I can't do this alone. We must work together toward a common cause. And with that, we can do a lot with just one word. Ready?
They were born on the same day. They were born in the same village. They grew up together. They played together. They worked together. They did everything together. And you won't believe this. They married sisters from the same family. And they built their houses right across the road from each other. And every night they had dinner at one or the other's house. Well,
My
40
ancestors,
years.
many years ago, came from Africa. They didn't come from Europe. No, no, no. They didn't come from Asia. No, no, no. They didn't come from the Philippines, New Zealand, Hawaii, Mexico. My ancestors came from Africa. But my mother-in-law, her ancestors came from England. And when she found out I was going to marry her son, she got sick and couldn't come to the wedding.
the Lord knows, believe it or not, because he done had some troubles of his own. One day the Lord said to himself, the three most important words in African American culture. He said, this here ain't getting me nowhere. This here mankind I done people my earth with sure ain't much. I got a good mind to wipe them off the face of the earth and people my earth with angels. Well, the Lord, he went on down the road talking to himself and studying about what he was going to do with the sin. He said, no, angels is all right for singing and playing and, flying around. But there ain't so much on working the crops and building up the
rice. Oh, ham bone, where's your son? Ham bone, where's your son? Down at the lake, having fun. What can we do with this? But they took that ham bone and dropped it down in their beans to give their beans flavor. Took the ham bone out and gave it to their neighbor. They put it in their beans to give their beans flavor. Took the ham bone out. That old ham bone went from shack to shack to shack to shack to shack. And that's where that song comes from. Ham bone, where you been? Round the world and back again. They may not be able to read or write, the slaves. But just because they couldn't read and weren't allowed to write, they didn't mean they weren't smart. They knew about community. Have one bone, share it. That's the way things were back then. People shared.
How did she die? How did she die? How did she die? How did she die? Did the buzzards come?
Yes, ma'am.
To pick her bones?
Yes, ma'am.
How did they come? How did they come? How did they come? How did they come? Yeah.